It does, but it also as well. I mean, I work with a lot of cancer patients privately, and one of the things, I mean, I have them on a strict diet, a very strict diet. So we have to take out meat, we have to take out dairy, we have to take sugar out. And I think the word cancer is such a scary word, and it shouldn't be. It's just another disease, but we give so much energy to it, and there's so much money involved in it that this is the. I think behind the scenes, this is the problem.
Welcome to Guide to Spirituality's podcast with me, Stacey Bauer. It's a down-to-earth space where we talk all things spiritual. Each episode, I'm joined by guests from all walks of life to share real experiences, practical tools, and honest conversations about healing, growth, and the unseen spiritual world. Whether you're just starting out or you're deep on your journey, this podcast is here to support your path with insight, connection, and that little bit of magic. Today's conversation offers a beautiful mix of insight, healing, and grounded nourishment. I'm joined by Jo from Mood Foods Kitchen, a retreat chef, Ayurvedic practitioner, and a spiritual medium, who shares her incredible journey of studying in India, healing from cancer, and helping others reconnect with the power of food as medicine. Whether you're curious about Ayurveda, seeking balance, or simply looking to be inspired by someone who walks her talk, this episode is for you. Good morning, Jo. Thank you very much for joining me today. How are you feeling today?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So I met you, Jo, through a retreat that we did in March this year. And for our listeners, Jo is an amazing retreat chef. Jo did all the food on our retreat, and you did the Ayurvedic cooking, Jo, yes?
I did, yeah.
Now, obviously, the food was a bit of a point because I understood that you were a vegetarian chef, and you're not. Oh, to put meat and what have you. And a few of the guests were like, oh, one lady said to me, my husband doesn't like all this exotic food. And actually, when I looked, I said, exotic? I said, it's an aubergine and stuff like that. But he was so like panicked about this. Oh, there's going to be no meat. What do I do? So actually, when he came to the retreat and the food that you did were amazing, the compliments you got about it were out of this world. But I tell you what we really liked, the fact that, you know, you'd said that you'd actually cured yourself from cancer with the food that the Ayurvedic way of cooking. And the fact that you explained every meal to us so we know exactly what we're eating, what part of the body it was good for. So how did you get into the Ayurvedic way of cooking, Jo?
I've had, thank you for your comments about my food, by the way.
Oh, beautiful.
Interesting, because I think there was only about 2 people when I arrived that actually came up to me and said, I've got to be honest, I've seen the menu and I'm not overwhelmed by it. And I bought my own food, and I was like, oh, okay. I was really grateful for that honesty, actually. And it turned out that those kind of clients are my best clients, because they're the ones that, after they've tried the food, and then they give you the comments afterwards. It was amazing. And, there was the 2 gentlemen in particular that they turned around and said, oh, we bought our own food, or we were Googling takeaways up the road, and, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, well, okay, no pressure, but just try, and then we'll see how we get on. And, I'm happy to move things around and change things if it's really not to your taste. And I'm more than happy to do that for any of my clients. But I think it was into the second day, and I think it's nice because then everyone gets to know you, everyone's a bit more passable, and they feel a little bit more be able to come up to you and speak to you. And, they were like, I really thought I was going to be hungry this whole retreat, and I didn't think I was going to like anything. But actually, everything that you've cooked and provided has been amazing, and I'm just overwhelmed by it. And I think the first thing was the cake, because I put down courgette, lemon, and thyme cake.
Yeah.
And I that always makes people go, oh, courgette cake.
No,
Please, no, don't like that. And then, then I put it out, and it was just, it was gone. And they were the comments, and that was the first introduction into my food when everyone arrived in the afternoon. So that kind of broke the ice a little bit, and then dinner, and then we were okay after that. And yeah, so I was really, really grateful for those comments, and it's always really nice to get people to try different things. And you going back and saying about how I explain how so every mealtime, I think it's really important to talk to people about what the food is, what the health benefits of it are, and how it can heal the body from the outside in, physically, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, in all facets. And I got into Ayurveda. I've been studying Ayurveda for about 7 years, but I went to India 2 years ago to actually complete my degree in Ayurveda nutrition.
Yeah.
I went out to India for 2.5 weeks. It was quite full on. I was studying all day, every day. The only day I had off was a Sunday. And the main reason I got into Ayurveda was I've had cancer 3 times in my life. I had chemotherapy for one of my cancers, and it made me so ill. It took me 5 years for me to get my immune system back up together.
Yeah.
I have very strong views about cancer and the treatment that is currently available for it. I personally don't agree with it. I know that's a little bit of a controversial subject, and everyone's allowed to make their own decisions. We have to make decisions for our own well-being, and for me, it just wasn't an option for me moving forward.
I
But
must admit, my husband's had cancer. He had bowel cancer years ago. He's had the all clear, and he had. They actually said that they thought he had the operation to remove a lot of it, and they said that they thought that actually, they'd removed it all, but they'd give him chemotherapy for, I think he was on it for 10 months, just to mop up any cells that could have been there that could have been cancerous. And he got to the end one and said, honestly, says, if I had to have any more, it'd kill me. And he's always said since, if ever I got it again, I'd never have chemotherapy again, ever, ever, ever. It ruins so much of your life, doesn't it?
it does. It does, but it also as well, I mean, I work with a lot of cancer patients privately. And one of the things, I mean, I have them on a strict diet, a very strict diet. So we have to take out meat, we have to take out dairy, we have to take sugar out. And I think the word cancer is such a scary word, and it shouldn't be. It's just another disease, but we give so much energy to it, and there's so much money involved in it that I think behind the scenes, this is the problem. So yes, sorry, I forgot what I was saying then. I gone off on a tangent.
I think it's because I cut you off, sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, so I mean, I think I work with some cancer patients. I mean, when we understand how cancer grows and what actually it is and how it works within the body, we can then start looking at other ways in which we heal it. So cancer grows from an acidic environment. It grows from sugar and candida, which is yeast. So if we've got an imbalance within our cells, because everybody has the cells in order to grow cancer. It's just a mutation of the cells. That's all it is. And then it spurs off in different areas. There is ways that you can contain that cancer to an area. Also, as well, for instance, everyone goes on about having biopsies. Well, our body is designed to do what it should do. So basically, our body will keep cancer as a contained sac within the body. And then what I then do is use certain treatments, certain supplements, certain diets to be able to hit that spot of where that tumor is, and then look to start peeling back those layers to eradicate it. So when you have a biopsy, it's like sticking a pin in a balloon. It goes everywhere. And so if you imagine that biopsy being done inside the body, all of that stuff within that tumor is then leaked into your bloodstream. And that's how it carries it throughout the rest of the body. And that's how you have secondaries, and that's why. So once you start understanding that, it makes sense. So so I do have a lot of patients I help privately. Yes, and I have more and more people coming to me for it because, having had it 3 times, and the other thing that I wanted to say to people, I'm a qualified life coach and have been for about 15 years. And one of the things that's really important when people are having treatment is looking after their mental well-being, because it sends you on this journey that is incomprehensible. Like, unless you've had those words said to you or you've seen someone go through it. I remember when I had my when they said to me, "Oh, you're clear," and I was like, I was more upset at that stage than I was when I was going through it, because all of a sudden, all of that help, all of that protective blanket that you've had around you is just taken away. And there's nothing afterwards. There's no aftercare. There's no follow-up. There's no how are you doing? You're just left with these thoughts of like, well, what if it comes back? That's what I mean. Unless you understand how this disease works, you are left with that. And then for me, as a spiritual person, I go into the realms of, am I manifesting it? You know? Yeah. So it's really, the mental health side of it is probably worse than the diagnosis itself.
Than actually having it, being told you've got it,
Yeah. And then afterwards being said, right, that's okay. You're okay now, and off you go, enjoy your life. And then you're just left, any lump or bump or, any ailment, any illness, it's always in your head. It never leaves you at all, and you're always worried about it because there's not enough education being given about what we need to do afterwards. What diet do we need to have afterwards? How do we need to look after ourselves in order to maintain a healthy lifestyle? None of this information is given to you. You're just left, and that's it. And I find that really upsetting. And I think some of my clients that I've helped over the years, the mental health side of it, you can watch them decline. And during treatment, their mental health really suffers. And also with the chemotherapy and the radiotherapy, it leaves you in bed. One of my clients, she was in a wheelchair within 6 weeks of having the chemo. And then there was lockdown and they stopped all her treatment. Just literally stopped it. So she wasn't working with me. What would she have done? And then, do you know what? No chemo. She was out of a wheelchair within 5 weeks.
Well, shit.
Yes. Yeah.
Well done.
And then I had a call. I started working with her in January, and then in August the 17th, she had bowel cancer, 8 months to live with palliative care, stage 4. Then it spread into other organs. So we worked really hard to contain that again. Once she come off the chemo and lockdown, and then August 17th, she was cancer-free.
Oh, never.
Yeah.
Well, that you see there, you're getting everything ready, aren't you, to what am I going to do with what are my wishes now? Because obviously my life's coming to an end, aren't you? You're at a point like that, aren't you? Yeah. So then to come back from that.
Yeah.
Heck.
Well, I mean, exactly. I mean, and also as well, like when I work with certain clients, I use an oil it's basically THC oil. That's one of the main things that actually helps with the cellular damage that's caused from cancer. It's very controversial. There's a lot of information, a lot of studies about it. But I know, it works. And
what is THC oil?
It's cannabis oil.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So the cannabinoids found in the compounds within the cannabis plant itself, namely THC, is one of the compounds, works very well to repair cellular damage, helps to repair the cellular growth, and it helps to combat the cancerous cells and helps to eradicate them. Alongside supplements and a really strict diet, that is your keys to combating cancer.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you said the THC oil, you don't mean to like cooking or out like that, do you? Or...
No, you have it. You have it as it's called RSO oil. So Rick Simpson was a gentleman from America who had cancer from a mole on his nose. Yeah. And he started using this cannabis oil that's now called RSO, Rick Simpson oil. And so it's basically in like a paste format. And I will administer or recommend that people take a certain dosage. So I go to Spain quite a lot to do some work out there because it's legal over there. And so it helps me to be able to research more because I do it in a country that is legal. So it allows me a bit more freedom. Yeah. And also as well, a lot of the lounges and stuff in Lanzarote or in Spain, they are a lot of the THC stuff is actually laced with sugar. So the stuff that I have been looking at over in Spain is just medical, purely from medical use, so nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're trying to eradicate sugar from your diet to cure yourself, and then you're using what you think's right, but it's laced with sugar, you're counteracting, aren't you?
Exactly. So the best way to do that is to get the RSO oil that's normally mixed with a you can get it in suppository form or you can take it orally. A lot of people, when they first start out with it, I recommend they take it at night time because it is THC, so it can have that effect on you. With the suppositories, though, there's no effect because it goes into it bypasses the bloodstream. And then if you've got cancer from the waist downwards, the THC suppositories are a really good way. Better. And I was healing somebody with testicle cancer with the oil, and he was doing remarkably well with it to the point that he was on no other medication. He was on Oromorph, pregabalins, everything, and it was not doing his mental health any good at all. His PSA levels were through the roof, and they were basically giving him female hormones to reduce the tumors in his testicles. And yeah, and when he started working with me, he was off all pharmaceutical drugs. The hospital couldn't believe it, and they were like, "Well, what's going on? Like we don't understand it." They wanted him to go into a hospice. He was down the road with his mates having bite to eat in the local pub when they told him he was end of life. So yeah, so it just goes to show, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how important food is, isn't it? That is how important what we put in. It's so important what we put in.
Yeah.
Just for anybody that's not sure, Joe, what is Ayurveda? How would you explain it? How would you say it out?
Ayurveda basically is the Indian healthcare tradition that they've been using for 5,500 years. Um, when I went to India, not only did I have to learn to navigate the Indian language, I had to learn Sanskrit as well because
You speak Indian?
no. No, I say like the odd word or something, but no. I don't. But by the end of the time, I'm going to be finished in India. I'll talk about that in a bit. But I hope to speak a little bit of it. But I had to learn Sanskrit as well because all Ayurveda is written in Sanskrit. All the old textbooks of Ayurveda, it's all written in Sanskrit. So a lot of people in India don't know, can't read Sanskrit anyway. So, and because India is becoming a lot more westernized now, it's a real shame that the essence of Ayurveda is being lost in India. So I think it's really nice to be able to bring that over to the West and return the favor. So, and I really like that exchange. And when I'm still very good friends with my teachers in Kerala, and I also are on first name terms with the doctors there. And I still buy my medicine from Kerala, Ayurveda medicine for my clients that comes direct from Kerala. And where I studied in Kerala, they had a pharmacy on site and they make everything on site. So that's where I buy my stuff from because I know the quality of it. I know the people that's making it. And for me, that energy exchange is really important. And if I'm going to recommend that to a client, then I have to be 100% sure that what I'm recommending is as
authentic, say right stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
right. Yeah. So yes, so Ayurveda means life science. So it's all about knowing. So when you look at Ayurveda, especially from a nutritional point of view, it's a whole healthcare system. So there is loads of facets with Ayurveda itself, but what I've just trained in fundamentally is the nutrition side of it. So when we look at Ayurveda, we have something called doshas, and it's all worked on your elements. So you have three doshas. So you have Pitta, Kapha, and Vata. So Vata is the element of air, Kapha is the element of earth, and Pitta is the element of fire. So all of those three elements together work together to not only eliminate toxins from the body, but also help you to regulate your entire self from the inside out and keep you balanced. So your look, I can normally tell someone's dosha by looking at them, and I did that on your retreat.
Yeah.
When they went off and they come back to me the next day and said, "Oh yes, I am Vata. Oh, I'm Pitta." But there's a quiz that you can do to find out what your dosha is. So, for example, if we have an imbalance in the body, so with Kapha people, they need very nourishing foods. So Kapha people generally tend to be like more apple-shaped people. Your bigger people, children under 16 are always looked at as Kapha, and people over 65 are also looked at as Kapha because they need that more nourishment during the early years and the latter years. And then your Vata is your element of air, so it's very fast moving. We use the element Vata to release toxins from the body. So an imbalance of Vata energy, for example, so all neurological problems, whether that be depression, Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, whatever it is a Vata imbalance.
Hi, I'm just taking a quick break to thank you all so much for listening to the podcast and for all your lovely support. If this episode gave you something to think about or simply felt helpful, you can support future episodes and my tea habit over at Buy Me a Coffee. The link is buymeacoffee.com/guide to spirituality. Every little bit helps me keep creating, sharing and growing this space, and I'm truly grateful.
Yeah, so when we know when we're out of balance and we know how to then regulate ourselves using our dosha, then you can then rebalance yourself out. And then what we use the Pitta, which is a fire energy. I'm a Pitta Kapha, so it's no surprise. I'm a Leo, so and I'm very fast. I'm 100 miles an hour, so that makes good sense. But your Pitta is also ruling your Agni, which is your digestive fire. So when I gave you the Patimoggam water in the morning,
Yes,
give it something warm, which is an Ayurvedic drink. It allows your Agni to start working. So your digestive fire is starting off on a really good basis. So throughout the day, whatever you eat and drink isn't going to cause that much of a problem if you're eating to what your dosha is.
Yeah.
So if you're a Vata person, you generally tend to stick to more seeds, more nuts, food that is air because it's the element of air.
Yeah.
And Kapha, opposite. So like your root vegetables, earth products.
Yeah.
And like Pitta, for example, Pitta people, I stay away from really spicy food because my digestive fire is already strong as well. So so we don't need to have our own to a fire. And then also vinegars, really not good for Pitta people. Ferments, that kind of thing. But I think if we know our body tells us what it likes and what it doesn't like, but we're so far removed from that I think we forget sometimes to listen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially if you're busy as well. So you've got a busy lifestyle. So, it's like mum of three, she's taking one to drama, one to football, one to this, she's dentist appointment, all the rest of it. She ain't gonna come home and go, right now, this child is or saying that they'd all be under 16 anyway, wouldn't they? They'd all be Catholic anyway, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Right, innit?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. But how would you put that into everyday life then so it would be easy? Or is it that you really just have to research it?
Well, no, not really. I mean, a perfect example was my partner said to me, and I said, look, I'd like the family to live more of an Ayurvedic lifestyle, especially nutritionally. So, and he's a Kapha. So my son is a beer Kapha as well, and I'm a Pitta. So his first reaction was, "Oh well, I'm not sure I'm going to like that. I like this, I like this." And I said, "That's the joy about Ayurveda. It's not a diet; it is a lifestyle choice, which means that you're not. I'm not saying to you, right? You're not allowed to eat that because I think that's the mental negative side of, this whole thing about health. We've got this thing, oh well, I need to diet to be healthy, I need to be a certain size to be healthy, I need to be this. No, Ayurveda doesn't concentrate on anything of that. It's about nourishing yourself from the inside out using your dosha. So I said to him, well, actually, all it is learning, don't eat that with that. That food group's better for me. I need to limit that food group. It's not saying that you can't have anything. You still can, but it's about knowing, okay, if I eat that with that, that's going to make me feel like this. It's going to make me feel lethargic. It's going to give me an indigestion. It's going to give me digestion problems. So you can still have it. But I think when you're mindful about what that food group is actually doing to you, you're probably more likely to eat it less often. So I'm not saying you can't have anything, but it's just about knowing what foods nurture you and heal you and nourish you and what don't, and what foods don't do that. And when I said that to him, he was like, oh, okay, well, that sounds, I wouldn't mind doing that then. That sounds like something I can do. And I think one of the things I work is always putting the onus back onto the client. How do you feel? What do you want? I think, allowing people to make informed choices for their own well-being is really, really important. And actually getting them to recognize, what, if I eat that, that's going to happen. It's about the people's relationship with the food as well, which is really important.
So I've got, I'm actually on trying to conquer it now. I'm trying to get rid of it properly. So I'm following a lower carb diet. Now, I think from what you said, so I'm obviously, I'm a Capricorn anyway, so I'm an earth element anyway. But I think from what you said, I would be anyway from,
You're a kapha, definitely.
I think that's what I would be.
Yeah.
Now, I've got type 2 diabetes, so I'm trying to get rid of that now.
Okay.
So I've reduced sugar, obviously, massively. And then also I ate quite out totally, but reduce carbs massively. Now, I know we've had a discussion before. You said really just cut out anything white.
Yes.
So I didn't realise cauliflower's full of carbs and all sorts, isn't it? I mean, I know a lot less.
If you're going to also eat carbs, because our body, it's our sugar is secreted through our pancreas. So it depends on how our body breaks down that particular food that you're eating, for example. So if you've got simple carbs like your white bread, white pasta, white potatoes, for example, a jack of potato is probably worse for you than any other potato, because when you roast it, the sugar is secreted from it. It's really high on a glycemic load as well. So on the glycemic index, it's one of the worst foods to eat. And all it does is spikes your blood sugar levels. So if you're already trying to come off sugar as well, you might find that you need carbs earlier in the day to balance out that dip in your blood sugar levels. So you'd also need a certain amount of carbs as well to be able to sustain you throughout the day.
Yeah.
But for you, I would say probably stay away from carbs after about maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So have your carbs earlier in the day, but have ones that are going to sustain you for longer periods. So, and you need something high in fiber as well. So things like your brown rice, wholemeal pasta. And also, if you were to look at I always ask my clients to keep a food diary for me for at least a week. I hope normally about 2 weeks. What you eat, what you drink, times of the day you drink them, your moods, how you feel, and then we can use that as a pinpoint. So for some people that find dieting really hard, and it's a lot, and it's all mental work that you need to get through, it's about saying, okay, well, this is what my diet is. This is what I've been eating. And I really like eating this, this, and this. So I then work with clients and saying, okay, I'm not saying you have to eradicate everything like other people are saying, but actually, what can we switch up a little bit? Can we swap that product out for something a little bit more healthier? Can we add in some extras to help the absorption process of that food? Because what you don't want to do is be bloody miserable whilst you're trying to be healthy. It's hopeless. And you're never going to sustain that either.
But I must admit, on the retreat that you did for us in March, my sugars were constantly balanced.
Yeah, that's it. I don't use white sugar and I
Oh,
use sugar alternatives. So I'll use a date syrup or coconut sugar or agave syrup, but I use it in small quantities. You don't really need to add sugar to everything. And also, that's why I like making the certain cakes as well, because it allows you to be able to try stuff using different ingredients
yes.
and having,
Still getting that same effect, aren't you? You're still getting that, oh, I've had a piece of cake. So your mind, it understands that you've had cake, but it's not loaded with sugar. So,
yeah.
it's not like, it's not going to do you any harm, is it?
But also, as well, it doesn't spike your blood sugar levels because
No.
your blood sugars are doing this all the time. It's also often your moods are doing this as well.
Yeah.
You also get a slump about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when the irritability kicks in. That's when people go for a packet of crisp or a chocolate bar or
Yeah.
a cake or whatever. So once you learn how to stabilize those blood sugar levels, you can actually do quite a lot with that to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Well, I'm
So do you like work? I know you've just said, you do like lifestyle coaching. So do you have a range of clients that you solely work with on their diet? So if somebody came to you and said, right, Joe, I've got this illness with such and such, these are my symptoms, how can I combat? Do you work with people like that?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking more to I do, but there's only one of me as well.
That's the thing, it's a lot, isn't it?
So I'm thinking moving forward, or no, I'm thinking what I am going to be doing moving forward. I'd love to host more group sessions.
Yeah.
So and I'm working on a cookbook, a book, which you very kindly told me about the other week. That's been going around in my head all day, every day, ever
Yeah.
since. So and I've got my dictaphone out as well. So thanks very
Well
much.
done. Well,
So yeah, so basically I want to write these modules up and that people can buy online. So if you've got a health ailment, whether that be heart disease, high blood pressure, weight management, depression, hormones, and I think also hormones is a really big thing. And I'm going to be looking at hormones for teenagers as well.
yes.
Because of the food that we're eating, I know when I went to study Ayurveda in India, we talked extensively about hormones and about the fact that children are aware, well, not just children, we're all eating this fast food that's laced with hormones. Chicken, for example, from KFC, for example, sorry, KFC, but you only have a certain amount of periods in your life from a female point of view, which is why girls are developing earlier in life, and which is why menopause is coming earlier and earlier.
Earlier. Yeah.
It's because of the food that we're eating.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look at even children now. You look at the size of their feet. Look how tall they are.
Yes. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's it's phenomenal. Girls are they're growing a lot earlier. Some like
Yeah.
in my day when I was a kid, that was unheard of. Like
Yeah.
few people were growing breasts and whatever by the age of 9, 10. But it's a reality in these days,
Yeah.
and I think we if we look at the long term aspects of it, and actually the menopause is coming forward, there's so much help that's needed. And I think the age group I'd like to concentrate on is the younger ones because, you know, other people, we do have a responsibility to teach our younger generation, and the mental health side of what they're eating and their lifestyle is going to have huge implications on their later life if we don't start helping them out now.
Absolutely. But like you say, like, I remember my mum worked at a nursing home. And when she worked there, there were a time when I think there were about 6 or 7 ladies all at the same time were all diagnosed with either breast cancer, cervical cancer. And somebody said, one of the ladies had done some research and said it's the hormone that they're putting in the dairy cow
Yeah.
that I don't say that caused it, but was a massive factor in it. So a few of them cut out dairy. Some of them, unfortunately, lost their lives, but some of them combated it. Now, whether that would be the, cured themselves, but whether that would be that their body would naturally, you know, have a higher chance of curing themselves anyway, or what it that the others had a different type of cancer. I suppose it's for such a small group of women, I don't think you could say completely exactly what had happened. But I know that a lot said about this hormone at the time that we are, it's in the meat we're eating, it's in the dairy, it's in everything that we're eating. We're pumping so much in. What do we expect it's going to do to our body? We're not supposed to design for all this, are we?
No, and if you look at some of the fast food chains and where the quality of the meat that they're actually growing, farming, going back to the cow thing, we're the only species that still drinks milk from
Yeah.
that when we're grown up. But then you're saying that, then you have this whole plant-based world, and certain plant-based milks aren't good for you either. They're also laced with sugar. So it is such a minefield. I'm not against dairy on the whole, depending on the quality of it. According to Ayurveda, goat is your best bet. So goat's milk is your best bet purely because cows are artificially inseminated. They also have a lot of diseases, a lot of infections that they need antibiotics for, and everything else like that. And so and also the cow is pregnant to produce milk. So in that milk is the hormones from that cow that you are ingesting yourself.
Yeah.
And then the milk, it has to go through such a complex process to make it fit for human consumption. That always makes me think, oh, if you've got to do all of that to make the milk,
So we can drink it. Yeah.
no,
It's not what it even started off being, is it?
no.
You know what I mean?
No, not at all. And I remember being a kid. My grandfather was a farmer, dairy farmer, and my mum's family are farmers. And we used to drink straight from the cow, like it was put on the table. And nowadays you're told you're not allowed to do that, which always makes me wonder: is that the process of the farming, and not actually the milk itself? Because if it was okay back then,
Why is it not now?
yeah, why is it not now? And you didn't have all these procedures and everything in place that you do now, for all the infections and all the artificial insemination and what's in that. And also, I mean, a lot of dairy farmers are really good to their cows.
Yeah.
Some are not. So again, it's about being conscious about where are we sourcing this stuff from. We're so far removed from where it's actually come from. We're so used to going to a shop, and picking up a plastic packaging with a bit of meat in it. But where has that come from? How have they been farmed? What's happened to them in that process? So for me, I eat meat and I eat fish, and I do eat dairy, but I'm mindful about where I get it from.
Yeah.
And I won't use anything. I won't use anything that's that I can't trace back
Yeah.
to the animal, basically.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So earlier on, when you said, and we'll be going back to India, tell us about that.
Right. Well,
Right.
so I'm 47 this year, and so I'm literally now at the point in my life where I'm thinking, okay, I need to have a 5 and a 10-year plan. And I've realized that what really drives me is helping people. I love that. That is me to a T. And one of the reasons I explain the food as well to everybody is so they know on a conscious level, because we eat with all our senses. So not only does it have to be tasty and look nice, also when you know what that particular food is doing to you, you're then it's like the placebo effect, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah.
This is doing this, so you're nourishing yourself from the inside out. You're giving that love and thought to yourself, and I think that is a massive factor in it as well. So I when I studied Ayurveda, I this is even before I went to India the first time. It just made sense. Everything I've been through, I'm a very spiritual person. I've been a medium since I was a kid. I don't know any different. Um, and then I went through all of these traumatic experiences in my life, but I always kind of had that mindset. Well, there must be a reason for it. There must be a reason. And now I can look back and think, okay, that all makes sense. That happened to me because I'm meant to be doing this moving forward. When I went to India to study Ayurveda, I didn't realize just how much I was going to fall in love with Ayurveda and how much it just makes sense to me. It makes so much sense on every level that I wanted to look at not just the nutritional side of it, but also how Ayurveda works within the body from a chemical biology point of view as well. Although we touched on it with the nutrition side of it, I wanted to learn more. So then this opportunity came about for me to do my doctor's in Ayurveda, pharmaceuticals, and disease management. And I ummed and ahed about it for about 2 years. It's quite a big investment. It's also a lot of study. Going for my doctors, that's nothing. And then I'm thinking, am I too old to do that now? Am I can I do it? I'm going for the menopause as well. So like, can my brain take that? Can I retain this information? Like, I could barely get to the top of the stairs without forgetting what I've gone up there for. So I'm like, can I,
Yeah.
when I do something, I give my all, I do. I give my entire self to it. And so there's no point for me attempting to do anything unless I can commit to that. And I've consulted them from upstairs, consulted your lovely self, and I'm going to go for it. So I go for it. So this Saturday, I know. So I'm going to message my friends in Kerala this weekend. I was supposed to do it this week. I just haven't got around to it yet. I just want to know what the formalities of the course is. So I'll be looking at pathology, the body in huge detail. We go really into the nutritional aspects of Ayurveda. It's 200 hours study in India. So for the next 2 years, I will be going there each year for probably a minimum of 2 weeks to study.
Right.
So it is a huge investment.
Yeah.
Personally, financially, everything else. But I believe in it so much. And I think this is the last piece of the puzzle that I needed to be able to move forward. I could still do what I want to do without my doctorate, but it's just something I feel that it's just going to give me a bit of an added extra. And actually, when I have that and when I bring to the forefront what it is I've got planned in my head of what's coming next, no one does it. And I've always wanted to be, bring something new to the table, something innovative, not exhausting old ways of doing things, because we've done that. Let's bring something new. Let's bring something fresh. Let's bring something that works. Let's put the onus back on people to make informed choices for their own well-being, giving them the information that they need. Not giving them snippets of information and expecting them to join the dots up. As if you were to look up what a balanced, healthy diet was, you'd just be lost, because after about 10 minutes, you'll be like, well, that's conflicting. That's conflicting. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And that's it. And I think that's wrong.
So do we have to then call you Dr. Joe?
Well, this is a joke I've been having with my family, and my daughter was laughing about it. She goes, I think I'll just keep calling you mum.
Yeah.
I'm not really pretentious or precious about anything.
No.
And also, I'm going, brother, I feel embarrassed, I think, if people were to call me that. But officially, yes, I suppose. But yeah. So it's huge. I mean, it's really huge. And then I thought, 47, is this too much? Do I really want to bring that on? And then I think, actually, 47, that's really young.
That's I'm gonna say that. I mean, 47. You're not 87. Do you know what I mean? If you said I was flying out to India to learn this at 87, I'd be like, oh right, nice one, Joe. Do what you will, but I mean, 47. You're only a puppy yet, aren't you?
Yeah. but I believe in it so much, and I think the thing is, we've always got that little gremlin that sits on our shoulder that says, "Oh, I can't do that," and I suffer from that quite a lot. So I always have to keep reminding myself, actually, no, stay focused. This is my goal. This is what I want, and actually, it's for the benefit of other people, which is what I was put on this earth to do with food. And so, how can I not do it when you put all of those things down? And then moving forward later on, I want to run a retreat center that I would like to get referrals from therapists, doctors, people that they can't help, basically. Because when I went to India, there was two people who were doctors. One was from Australia and one was in Europe. The girl from Australia, her eyesight had turned upside down. And this was pretty much stress related. So no one else could help her. It was for years. She went to do the cleanse in Ayurveda, the Pancha Mahabhuta, and she it fixed her. Yeah, it did. And then this other doctor, he went there for other issues that nobody else could fix himself, and he went through the 3 week, 4 week cleanse, totally fine. So it's a series of things they do. It's not just one particular facet that you need to concentrate on with Ayurveda. It's a whole multitude of things that you can do for your dosha that can rebalance you to make you all well again. And it's just so amazing. And then when I want to do this retreat center, I would also love to give out free places and scholarships every year to people that can't afford it. So there'll be a certain number of places that, or there'll be the people can sponsor people as well if that's what they want to do. Because I've always said that treatment, nutrition, and stuff like that shouldn't just be available to people with money.
No, I totally agree with that.
Absolutely not. It's one of my, having a nutritional balanced diet should be a choice and a right for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And unfortunately, it's not. So, that's long term what I want to do with it. And there's so much good that can be given back. And Ayurveda, when I started looking at it 7 years ago, nobody knew what it was. They were like,
No.
"What's that? Never heard of that." And now you can start here. It's now being dropped in certain places. I think I heard it on the TV last week or something. I was like, oh, so it is becoming more and more popular. But I think I've always been one to want to be ahead of the game. And actually, the way in which I want to work with Ayurveda is very different to what other people are already doing with it. And I think that's just what I need to focus on, is where I'm going with it, what I'm doing, and actually what the benefits are to other people long term, because I think they're going to be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, Joe, would like some, some coaching with you, some, book you for anything, any retreats. They can't have March or September next year though, because that's when we're booked in. They're not allowed them dates. Honestly, I must admit, when I put the new retreats out, new spiritual retreats out, people said to me, "We are having Joe, aren't we? Is Joe going? Joe's not doing the food. I don't think I want to book." I was like, "Yeah, yes, she is. Yeah." So, so if anybody wants to get in touch with you, Joe, to discuss, working with you, where will they find you?
I am currently redoing my website at the moment, so I don't have a website for people to view, but I'm on Facebook as Mood Foods Kitchen, and I'm on Instagram at Mood Foods Kitchen. All my numbers and details are up on there. So, if people wanted to send me a message, I get a lot of people message me on Facebook. I'm trying to build up my social media this year. I'm probably going to look to outsource it because it's just quite a lot to do. And I'm aware that I need to grow my following. So it's one of those, as in, I'm not going to do that too soon and bring everything to the market until I've signed up on the course. I have a plan of what I'm doing and how I want to bring that out to the marketplace. So, and then the cookbook, which everyone keeps nagging me about.
Yeah.
When's it coming? When's it coming? It's been in process for about 4 years. It will come. But I just need some other little pieces of the puzzle yet to come before that can come out for sale. So I'm hoping that towards the end of the year or the beginning of next year. Although you said about the book that I need to write first to give people a bit of a background on who I am, why I'm here, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and then for the cookbook to come afterwards. So that's probably going to be the way it goes. But yeah.
I mean, you've a lot to do, John. You're very, very busy.
Well, Peter. Peter energy. Constantly on the
Oh, I love it. Thanks so much for joining me today, Joe. I've really enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you very much. We'll speak to you again, though, because what I want to know is when the books are out. I need to know that immediately. And we also need to know when we've got to start calling you doctor. Yeah.
A few years yet, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for listening to me, Stacey Bauer, on Guide to Spirituality podcast. If you enjoyed this chat, feel free to follow, share, or leave a review. It really helps. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and keep showing up for you. See you next time.